Hi guys, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Yana.
And we're Latte and Foam.
Before we get started, we just wanted to talk about how we have been fully funded on Kickstarter. If you haven't checked out our pages, or if you didn't know or didn't see the announcement, we have been fully funded. We're going to be now working tirelessly to bring the full game forward, and if you don't know what's coming with the full game, you definitely should still sign up for our backer updates. It's $5. You can still get exclusive updates. We have one coming out real soon, but we want to thank every single person who talked about, tweeted about, shared on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on TikTok, wherever, and donated to our campaign and made our dreams come true. We are so excited to bring this to you guys hopefully soon. That's a huge thing for Lovely Inc. Oh, wait, another update too is that Evermore is coming to Steam, so there'll be more news about that soon too. We have so much to come this fall and this winter.
Yes, sorry for the delay on that, but it is coming and it's very fitting because Evermore actually starts out in the fall, so it'll be like perfect seasonal. For you Steam girlies that have been waiting to play it, and yes, please consider the updates. We're not going to stop updating on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and all of that, but if you want a little bit more details and behind the scenes, that is going to be the exclusive spot. And in accordance with that, we are going to be extremely busy, but we still want to try and get content up when we can. So we're trying out a new format here with this video, where we're just going to cover one topic that we've been seeing, and that would make a little bit shorter video, but still you'd get content from us. So let us know how you guys like that in the comments after this video. But for today's topic, we are actually talking about Red Bell Lament. It just came out. We're both wearing kind of vampy tops. I don't know if you planned that, Jan, but I was like, let me try and get in the Red Bell Lament vibe. So I'm just going to give a little overview of the game, and then I'll pass it to Jan to start talking about the controversies that have ensued this last week since it released. The Red Bell Lament is a dark fantasy otome in a visual novel style by Voltage. It's developed under their new console brand that they announced, Amulet, which is a new sector within Voltage, and it released on June 5th, 2025. A ruthless battle between humans and vampires is about to unfold. The mission. Throughout the story, the heroine will be confronted with various decisions to make. In order to complete each mission, she must weigh her options carefully before making her choice. Win, even if it requires cheating. The heroine encounters a mysterious game board in a certain place. Should she make an incorrect choice, she could move back a step to rewind time, so long as she's willing to cheat. Very interesting. I've never seen that full description until now. I just read it off of Nintendo's site.
Is there game? I wonder if there's like true gameplay, or is it the same as Even If Tempest? Hate to say this. No, I don't ever hate to say this. The game sucked. Sorry. I'm an Even If Tempest hater. Anyway.
I think it's kind of like that. Like, as far as like the choices, like you're just making the correct choices. It's been marked as a visual novel everywhere that I can see reviews.
Choices! Jumping right into it because I'm a hater with a cause. There was controversy that came up apparently 9 months ago on the Reddit forum.
This was on r/Otome. The original user said, people are suspecting that some background images in the Red Bell Lament might be AI generated, like the structure of the chairs, the lamp, etc. What do you think? Personally, I didn't notice it at first, but after someone pointed it out, I can kind of see the AI, especially in the tavern scene. Honestly, I'd be pretty disappointed if Amulet used AI-generated art in a visual novel that's likely to be priced $50.
But it was really making its headway again once the game released, because of course, on Twitter, as there was suspicion of AI usage, and there was a couple of people who pointed out where that was spotted in, which is the backgrounds. For a big company like this is shit in the bed using AI, and so many people came to the forefront being like, I'm so disappointed, what's happening, why would you guys do this? And of course, they didn't say anything. They just said nothing. There was also issues of like when the game launched that the game wasn't working. It was a lot of bugs, issues, and I'll give the grace for this. You really don't know what'll happen when you launch a game. You can do beta testing, alpha testing. You can do all the testing in the world and it'll work for you. Kayla and I know this firsthand. And then you release it to the public and they're like, hey, it doesn't work. And you're like, what? This worked when we did it. So it's like, because you know it. So that can happen. And they definitely at least address that. Like, there was bugs. I do want to like just lash them a little bit because they delayed the game. They really didn't give a reason why. They just were like, it's delayed, like eat it. And I feel like another thing, this is more of a marketing thing, like they definitely should have released this in like October. This is like definitely a October, November-y game.
I think that is when they originally planned to in 2025, and then they pushed it to 2026, and then it ended up coming in June 5th. I do really quick want to read some of the comments that we saw on Twitter, because that's like where it started to pop up more recently. Otome Waifu says, "Oh yeah, they def did. Look at this, LMAO." And this is in response to somebody saying, "Is there AI?" Not even funny, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. It is very obvious. Like, things that should be a continuous wooden bar are like popping out. You know how AI does that. Like, things look a little janky. All throughout the tavern background in particular is where I'm seeing most of it. The incompetent Otage gamer said, "For a game that's $50, this is just embarrassing." And then when they had the gall and gumption to actually release a statement called an apology, everybody thought it was going to be about the AI situation, and that's when they just addressed like all the different bugs that they're still working on or that they fixed, and offered like some kind of in-game reward. I think they added like a little after story or something like that, which is nice, but they've still not addressed the AI accusations. It's now July 12th, so it's been over a month, and so opinions are what they are. Obviously, you know how me and Jan feel about AI art. We do not support it. Even as an indie company with more of a fixed budget, we pay for full custom backgrounds and artists very fair rates.
For me, here's why it's several huge issues. As somebody who's a longtime Voltage defender, fan, and everything, Voltage has been around for, at this point, nearly 3 decades. Now, they, I think, really popped up on the Western front, maybe in like the 2010s. But if you pay attention to some of their older games and some of the backgrounds, it says like 94. We've looked it all up. We've done so much extensive research. This is how we know. They're so knee deep in this game that to make these kind of continuity errors, these kind of like big no-nos, especially for something that visual novels, Otome games in general, the gameplay, all that is fantastic, and it's a huge 50% component on its own. But the art is what makes us and draws us to all these games. If you don't see the guys, it's like, think about it from like a Love and Deep Space perspective. Like, if none of those guys were cute, if the art wasn't so dynamic and all of the art elements that go into it, the game would suck, because you're just like, who cares? Like,
it's a huge piece.
Yeah, Mystic Messenger. While you are mostly in the messengers, it's the emojis, it's the little art pictures you get. That's what draws you so into it, and then the gameplay just like snaps it together and makes it fantastic. So for them to still continually all the time flub with art, it's bananas to me. Before, when they were just the apps, they actually were paying, I can't remember, I have to find the article, maybe Kayla can find it. They were paying like students dirt to make these backgrounds, and of course they were just like whatever, because they were paying them absolutely nothing to cram them out. And it's like, okay, that's all we had. But also, as they continued on with games and like sprites and everything, like the quality just continued to go down. And I found actually some of their backgrounds on the Unity Asset Store. And I think that assets should be available, and you should utilize what you can in the budget that you have available to you, especially like indie games. Voltage, which makes millions of dollars a year on both the Japanese and English front, kind of baffles me that they would do something like that, because they have in-house artists. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I think, and I don't know if you remember this, Kayla, remember when we looked up and I think we saw like their profit end, and like their CEOs or whoever was at the top made $45 million a piece, like each.
Yeah, they really like paid themselves a lot. And when we were looking into that, I don't remember why we were looking at their Glassdoor, but that's where we saw the comments where people were like, they treat their contractors poorly, like I'm just a college student, and they didn't really properly sign the rights to the art or something like that. And that is why their art is so inconsistent, I think, because they still contract it out to this day. I'd have to do more research on it. I thought for their console games they were going with like an art house, but maybe it is just for the main characters, or they're having like a concept designer and then they're allowing AI to like take it there. I'm not sure.
I think what I'm thinking of, and you're correct, I think especially for like Neon Mafia, they use like art house for like some of the backgrounds and like the promo, and I think obviously the characters, which is not uncommon. A lot of like Otome uses art teams, and then that's how you get like, it's Pio Fiore has a specific art style, and another game that is not Otome has exactly the same style because they clearly use the same art house and art team. I think it's a women-ran team. It's not a bad thing. It's not a big deal. Like, it's just like very clear that that's what they did. And so then that art team obviously owns like parts of things. Either way, Voltage, yeah, there was on Glassdoor. And then we know, like, even if Tempest had a $1 million or $2 million budget, and it's like, you guys have millions of dollars at your disposal, and you're clearly using it to do what? Like, it sure as shit ain't in that gameplay. It ain't in them writers. No offense.
The fact that they're charging a premium, like, I feel like the Otome community is pretty used to, like, Otomate prices, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't bought Otomate games in a while, but it's usually $39.99.
It depends, I think, on the game. Like, I paid like $50 for Sympathy Kiss, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, maybe they have gone up. So I remembered them being like around 30 to 40, like just depending on the game. But yeah, okay, Voltage is coming in at the top dollar though with like 50. Is it $59.99 for some Voltage games? I'm about to look it up. $49.99 for the Red Bell Lament. But I swear to God, even if Tempest was $59.99.
Again, their quality and things like, even in the ports of the games, they clearly update things. Like, I love their text boxes and the theming that they go into, because it reminds me of when the individual apps were a thing. That's how they clearly went back to. But then they like screw things up, like in the translation, which kills me because it's like, you already have it. Like, I'm confused as to why you changed it. Or like parts of however they do their coding, like certain words have specific coding blocks in between, which is fine. It's where you can continue to input things without having to change a lot. But what happens is it's like an image, so it's like .png, and it's like, okay, like, why did you let that like slide through? It's very easy to like see that. Or
yeah, they're infamous for having like code lines like just raw inside of text boxes or choice boxes, showing that they're not investing in proper QA for their games, which is crazy because they are not an indie company. They have been around since the 90s. They're huge. They're, I believe, publicly traded in Japan now, and it's just like, how on earth does this keep happening? I have seen a portion of the fandom, especially because it's Voltage and it's a more, people see it as a budget or a gateway Otome because of the cheaper mobile titles that they have. And I saw a lot of opinions where people were saying, oh, well, Voltage has always been low effort. They've always used cheap labor. Like, if you were excusing it back then, like, what's your problem now? And I think it is just the fact that they're trying to go to that price point, and the fact that it's AI and a lot of people just don't support that. Yeah,
and I think, like, I totally get where people say that, like, well, if you supported it then, it's like, well, because that's, like, really what you could afford back then. You think about it, like, 10 years ago, like, you know, I was 20, I was fresh into college, like, I only had $5 to spend, and that didn't bother me. At least they always had, like, I felt like integrity better and, like, the better storytelling and, like, the quicker storytelling. Again, I don't hate Otome. I have a decent amount of Otome games, but sometimes I'm like, please, my God, we gotta get to it, okay? I can't keep rubbing my ankles, so this sucks. Like, I don't have 3 weeks. But honestly, it is just disappointing because it's a game company that's been around so long and how much revenue they get in. And it doesn't have to be, I don't want to say things have to be low quality or should be low quality or it's okay to accept low quality, because that's not the case at all. What my issue really is that with having this subgroup Amulet and wanting to really enter into a true universe, they looked like great games. I think it's the lack of addressing, but it's also like almost the lack of care sometimes. Like, it sometimes feels very cash grabby. So like, do I think that they have to have the best quality games ever? No. And I say this to say, listen, we've all been in the damn trenches and played shit games. Like, let's not pretend like we're so pretentious and like can't play games that aren't like top tier Persona 5. Like, let's stop. But do I think that we should expect for them to be transparent, to be honest, to put in at least their best efforts that they can? Yeah, again, for even if Tempest, I can't imagine that Red Bell Lament didn't cost like similarly, or they didn't have the same kind of budget, because they had like $1 million to $2 million budget. So there's no reason for $2 million. And especially because Kayla and I have been doing research with, you know, art teams, artists. We know what is truthfully available and out there. There's no way in a huge budget that you have, even if all you had was 60 grand to spend to art, that you had to go to AI. That's bullshit. And it's more bullshit that you don't address it. They can't, because what are they going to say? Yeah, we did. And like, what are we going to do now? Like, because what's going to happen? And if they did admit to AI, using AI, would that stop everybody from buying it? I mean, I'm not buying it because of that alone, you know, whether they address it or not. Even if they came out now and said like, hey, it's not, it's just quality error. One, I wouldn't believe it, but like, two, I'm not buying the game. So
I feel like I don't really feel like this is going to affect the sales. Like, I feel like people who are calling it out, it's one, they've already bought it and they're just like, oh, this sucks, but you know, there's not a lot of Otome games and this is like really up my alley. Especially if somebody likes like vampires and stuff, they're probably going to get it no matter what. And then other people who are just like kind of out on Voltage's console releases, like didn't like Even If Tempest Like Us, we weren't going to buy it anyways. So like this is making no difference for us. And I feel like a lot of people that I've seen online, they're like, oh, I was never going to buy it anyways. But yeah, the AI thing sucks.
I just want to say, and I say this all the time, is that especially in so many great indie games out there, like, not to toot our own horn, but like ours, but there's, you know, Noichi Studios, there's so many indie games that we promoted on our Kickstarter. Definitely check out our comments on there, or updates on there, because we've talked about some great indie games that are coming out too, or like Cupid's Chat Room. Like, those games, those take such heart and passion into it, and it's like, you speak with your wallet, and that's the only way that they'll understand. And I can't tell you or force you what to do and what to spend your money on, but think about it. When these companies do this, they don't suffer many consequences, because what's gonna happen if they don't change it? Well, they'll still sell it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy a game. I'm not saying that if you choose to say, look the other way, or say, hey, listen, not my fight to be in. That's your prerogative. That's your choice. Totally understandable on either end. I would just say, like, you can make these companies listen to you, hear you. I will continue to use Target as an example. Target was steadily and is still steadily losing money because people stopped shopping there because of what they chose to do. Go to Costco, honestly. But these are things, and it's not a bad thing if people still decided to go to Target. It's just what they choose and what they can afford, what they can grasp, what they can do to enjoy their time. It's your wallet, it's your money. It's just, if you use it, it's like the pin is mightier than the sword kind of situation. They have to address it, and they have to change what they do. This is a multi-million-dollar company. And even if they're not, you know, it's paying their CEOs $45 million today, bet your ass that they're fine and making decent enough so they can afford to get artists. Sorry,
yeah, and I don't really know I haven't checked up on it, but like a couple of years ago when we were doing research on it, they had been operating at a loss for like 5 or 6 years. And that's pretty common for public companies to just go on for multiple years operating at a loss. I think when they became public is like when they got that luxury. But yeah, I really don't know what's going to affect them, what's not going to affect them. Numbers are just going to go up and down, and they're going to do what they're going to do. Obviously, coming to the console market was a decision that they made to try and make numbers go up. But the way that it's going, I don't know that it's actually helping them if they're having these monstrous budgets, but still making like stupid mistakes, like using AI assets, for example, because then people are going to speak with their wallets, like Yana's saying, and not buy. So I don't know. For me, where I'm at with Voltage is I don't really trust their console team to make a concept that I appreciate and like. I know that they were still using cheap labor and it's trashy content, whatever, the old mobile games, but that's all I like from Voltage, and I feel like that's just what I'll continue to enjoy, is those old titles that I already have and have played before. Nothing new from them has appealed to me. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let us know what you guys think though. Where are you at? Should developers like Voltage answer to this? And should they state if they use AI up front so consumers can then just make the choice? Or should they just kind of brush it under the rug or not address it at all like they're doing right now? Let us know what you guys think, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!